is your name?
Gavisas.
What is your favorite color?
Definitely not pink.
What is your quest?
To slay the pink Rathian for the Let's Not Play Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate with BOWGUNS video, whatever number this is, I don't even know. Okay, now, as you can see, this quest has already been completed. And the reason for that is because, and also part of the reason why I said the pink is most definitely not my favorite color, is because I hate this quest. This is now the third time I've done this quest. Third time, yes. And it should only be the second time. This should actually be the first time. But the first time messed up the recording, and that is what it is. But have you ever had one of those situations, one of those times in your lives where just nothing seemed to go right? In fact, it almost seemed as if everything at once just conspired against you in the most heinous fashion to make sure that absolutely nothing went right. If you have, then you kind of get what has been going on with me for the last hour and a half, or more, probably more, because yeah, I did. Okay, to begin, and this will be continued a little bit tomorrow. Just gonna let you know ahead of time because that one is finished recording. This one is not. Yeah, okay. So, to kind of clue you in what's been going on with me, started out today, I decided, you know what, there's some of those, just basically hunt till you drop quest in 4 Ultimate, you know, the hunt-a-thons or whatever they're called in 4 Ultimate, and here there's one for Kuropeko called Siren Song. I think it was kind of like they're testing it out to see if it actually would work out okay, and it does. Not a bad quest in 4 Ultimate. This game, yeah, I did it for a bit, just a short bit. Decided after a great many things went horribly wrong that it was probably in my best interest not to do it for a video. I probably will actually give it another shot next week, but that's neither here nor there, and that will be covered perhaps a little bit better in the next video for tomorrow. By the way, this will be a one-shot sort of thing. I'm only doing one take of Pink Rathian today and then a second one tomorrow. That one's already recorded. This one just decided to mess up right there. Finish line, had to completely restart. We're not going to talk about that. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna start at the beginning. Let's, what's those words from The Sound of Music? You know, let's start at the very beginning. Well, today's beginning was terrible. Yeah, just awful. Well, not we, but me. I started off by trying to do that. You know, that Kuropeko question. The first thing. Capcom. You done me wrong. You really did. You really done me wrong. Because, I mean, I love your game. This is just spectacular game session. Not just game session, but game series. And I love it so, and I want to be supportive of it in both my words and my deeds and my actions and everything that I can, because I just love this series of games. However, there does come a point where when you as the game developer, publisher, everything else like that, do some things that just don't make any sense. Now, Rathalos, they have this cool little feature wherein if they have ventured too greatly outside of the realm of the movable of the battable area. I mean, there's the phasing line, so to speak, when you go to leave an area and you go beyond it and you're just kind of done. You can go no farther. You will zone into the next area. Well, that kind of happens all over the place, and just sort of a thing. And if a monster happens to go past that point, you know, then they kind of stuck until they come back, because you can't really chase after them, or you just go to the next area and probably get killed when you walk back into the one where the monster is. Just sort of the way things are. not really that big of a problem until you come to what happened today. And the reason why, for the first time in a very long time, I rage quit a quest. I mean, it wasn't I forgot to do something. It wasn't I didn't bring something that I ought to have. I just got fed up and said I'm done. And refused to continue. So, specifically, this Siren Song quest, multiple Kuropekos, which, to begin with, why that monster of all of them? I mean, I can understand if you have some sort of reason for it, but perhaps testing it, Kuropeko doesn't necessarily have an awful lot of life, so it's not really too big of a challenge, really, to, or at least it should not to be too big of a challenge to take on a bunch of Pekos, provided, of course, that you only are taking on Pekos. But even that is still getting a little ahead of myself. To really get to where we're starting in, we're going to go back to where I was a second, about that whole zoning area. Yeah. In Area 2 of the deserted island of this game, when you start to leave it to go towards Area 1, it's a very well-known hill, where you just go up to the left of the waterfall, and it's a long way up that hill. Most monsters, even when they spawn in from that side, Aptonoth or Great Jaggy or whatever, when they spawn in from that side, they spawn in 3/4 of the way down the hill, and they spawn out about the same distance. Not Peko. Peko got all the way up to the top of the hill, where you can no longer see up the hill because it just ends, I'm assuming, in some sort of programmer limbo. But, yeah. So it gets all the way up there, which, in order to be able to still remain in the area myself, I could not get close enough to actually shoot it because it was so far up the stupid hill. Now that by itself is not so much of a problem if it had programming like most of the Wraths do, in terms of Rathian, Rathalos, so on and so forth, because they realize that a lot of their attacks take them very far outside of the scope of the area sometimes, and just need a little bit of a helping hand to come back. Not Peko. Peko got all the way back there, and then when he got back there, he goes, The hunter cannot hit me. I am not in a fair plane of confrontation. So what should I do? Should I go back down to the hunter and continue this fight normally? No. Let's first of all heal myself twice, because I can, and there's nothing the hunter can do about it except watch helplessly from the sidelines. But that is also just not enough. Let's also, while we're up here, I haven't seen my buddy Devil Joe in so long. I think he just needs a little call to join the festivities, so to speak. And now that he was there, he thought, that hunter, he's such a just cruel, terrible person. He might try and hurt my buddy Devil Joe. And so what he did was he went and he gave his Devil Joe the biggest defense song he possibly could. And I couldn't do anything about it because he was out of range. And if that wasn't enough, he goes, that hunter, he's got some really strong armor on him, and he's probably going to do just terrible, terrible things to my Devil Joe with that strong armor, because he'll be able to take an attack or two. So I need to buff my Devil Joe friend, and I'm going to give him a real strong attack song too. And I'm going to do my best to make sure that he gets the best attack song I can give him, and he certainly did. And if that wasn't enough, he then goes, I think I've taken a little too much damage, and perhaps my Devil Joe has been hit by a stray bullet that was just fired uselessly up the hill at me. And so I'm going to heal myself and my little friend Devil Joe again. And only at this point, where he's been up there for at least 2 minutes, does he go, okay, now I've had enough. Now I have trolled this hunter beyond any point of reason and just common sense, and now I will come back down the hill. And certainly he did. And you know what? At that point, I didn't care. I just said, you know what? This quest is over. It's done. It has no more purpose for being. I am done with it. I will now rage quit, abandon quest, and I will be very happy about it. And you know what? I did. And I abandoned the quest on the very first Pecco, without it being dead, without Devil Jewel being dead, without anything being dead except for... I wasn't even dead. I was just done. I was just done. I'm sorry. You know what? I said this in the first video. I'm going to say it again. Capcom, you done me wrong. And you do all of your fans a disservice with this sort of programming. Because... And this is what I said before, and I'll say it again. Although what happened before probably won't happen again. I'll get to that in a second. Because, well, actually, I'll just say it. As soon as I said what I'm about to say, Pink Rathian had downed a Gargua, and of course leaves a shiny behind. As soon as I said this, I went to go pick up the shiny, and it was a Rathian ruby. So I now have a Rathian ruby, which I'm really happy about. But that's also part of the problem. But that's another story. That's another part of the story. Anyway, so Capcom. This is pretty much, again, my opinion, not everyone agrees with me, but pretty much one of, if not the best game series of all time. Just, I feel that that's a fairly objective opinion coming from a subjective person. It's subjectively my objective opinion. If that makes any sense at all, probably not. It kind of has everything that you would hope for. It has teamwork, it has a little bit of competition, it has challenge, it's not too hard, it's just... If I was to design a new game starting tomorrow that would be just everything that I was looking for in a game series, I would probably end up with something very, very close to Monster Hunter. With a few, you know, well thought out improvements. Because when your game is as good as this game is, and it certainly is very, very good, the thousands, literally thousands of hours that I put into it, I am less than 100 hours away from having played this series for more than 3,000 hours. And I don't mean, you know, sitting on the town hall. I mean, I've done that before. Yeah, just kind of sat around. But in terms of like continuous play, a little over I'll be about 3,000 hours. Maybe a little bit short because, you know, sitting around the tavern or whatever. But 3,000 hours into a single game series, that's unheard of. Which, again, bears testament to just how good this game series is, that someone is willing to dedicate that many hours of play to it. However, Capcom, and I do hope someone from Capcom is listening, I might actually go as far as to post this on their forums, because, wow. Anyway, when your game is this good, the little things are the only things to complain about. And when the little things are the only things to complain about, they really, really, really stand out. To wit, when I go to attack a monster, I expect that monster to be attackable, not hiding beyond the range of your longest range weapon. Believe it or not, bowguns have more range than bows. Just, that's the way it is. You can't argue with it, it just is. And I could not hit the monster. I mean, and I was trying. I got as far as I could without zoning, and I could not hit the monster. By the way, aim for the stomach on Pink Rathian with shots. Pretty much the same thing with everything else too, but you know, just stomach, somewhere in there. But yeah, could not hit the monster, and it made me very upset, made me very unhappy, and so. But that, even that, really not really the issue. The overarching issue. It's more to the fact that there's a lot of these little things, little hitbox errors. I know Plesioth hip check is kind of like the most famous one, but there are some. In 4 Ultimate, there is something seriously wrong with Cephadrome. I don't know what it is. I don't want to know what it is. I just want that monster to not be in the game because it I won't say it ruins the game, but it lessens my enjoyment for having to fight that thing. As it is, I'm not sure. It might be like the jumping paralysis attack. It's like as though this more than slightly broken attack wasn't enough. Now it does paralysis on me, so that could be part of it. Yeah, there's just a host of small things like that, but that really is the only thing that really detracts from the game is just these hosts. Again, not an overabundance of them, but enough that you notice of just little things that by themselves not a problem. When taken in context with all the rest of them, oh, there's a problem. Oh, there's a big problem, and not one which is easily just ignored. Like I said, if it was just one, if it was just two of these little things, then that's something that I could explain away. That's something I could deal with, something I could make amends with, so to speak. But when there are this many, and especially when it's ones that are really kind of game breaking, where, okay, you want to have a Pecco quest, you want to have a Hunt-a-thon, whatever, that's great. In 4 Ultimate, I like those quests. They help me gain useful parts very, very quickly. Very, very helpful quests in that game, in that context. But when you put them in this game, with Kuropeko, who is already one of the most annoying monsters to fight because it has the ability to summon monsters, nerf it a little bit. Think it through. Hey, this is an endurance test of the highest magnitude and order. You're going to be fighting for the full duration of this quest, whether you really like to be or not. That's just how this goes. If you're going to do it right and, gain the full benefit of it, not just hunt 2 and leave. But if you're going to gain the full benefit of that hunt, you're going to be there for a full 50 minutes of time fighting that monster. Does that monster really need the ability to call in the largest, most powerful non-elder dragon that you have? Does that really need that ability to call in? Okay, you know what? Even if you'd called in Pink Rathian on that quest, it wouldn't have been as bad as Devil Joe. Because it's freaking Devil Joe, and he basically is the size of whatever area he goes into. I mean, even, I would have even taken Duramboros over Devil Joe at that point. I was just done. So done. So done. Where is he? Oh, okay, here he is. She is. And I don't have any shock traps, or any traps with me at all, but not really the point. The point is, Capcom, you gotta fix this. You gotta do something. You gotta throw us a bone every once in a while. I mean, I know, like I said, I know, and I acknowledge and I appreciate this game so much. It is, like I said, in my opinion, it is probably the greatest series of games I've ever played, or probably ever will play. It's just that good. Not gonna quibble about it. Not gonna do nothing about it. It just is that good. And I would really kind of defy anyone to provide me objective opinions, or at least some measure of proof to disprove that idea, or disprove that thesis, or the hypothesis, whatever it is. To say that this is not, at least within the top 2 or 3 greatest series ever made. I mean, just in terms of gameplay, in terms of replayability, in terms of variation, in terms of customization, everything that you would look for, everything that all the experts say you need to look for in video games, it's here. It's here. You can't argue with that. They have put it in here, and put it in here in spades. It's everywhere. This game has everything in some aspect or respect, and every new iteration of it makes it better and better and better. Somehow they make it better and better and better. But in every iteration, there's just 5 minutes extra of coding or something would have made all the difference, and would have taken greatness to near perfection. And it saddens me sometimes, and more than saddens me, it greatly frustrates the crap out of me when I put in the time and the hours and the effort and still find situations like today where I'm fighting this monster to the best of my ability, the best that I have to do. I'm just doing all that I can, and it's like, nope, we're going to make it so you cannot do what you came here to do. We're going to make it so that it is literally impossible for you to complete this quest by putting the monster outside range, and then not putting in the, just, like I said, however many lines of code it would be, it can't take that long to say, hey, you're outside of the area, come back in! Because the longest range weapon you have cannot reach you. again, I'll get off my soapbox. I will stop pontificating. I will stop yelling. I will stop doing all these kind of things. And part of this is also because I've messed up some of the things on my end. But that's not really... Those were all technical issues, not gameplay issues. Anyway, I'm going to stop. Hope you all have enjoyed. Part 2 is tomorrow. I'll see you then. I will stop complaining to all of you. I'll stay here and complain to myself for the next 2 or 3 hours. Anyway, I will see you all next time. Hope you did enjoy. If you did enjoy, leave a rating down below. It'd be very much appreciated. If not, a dislike rating, a nasty comment telling me to stop splitting this up, and of course, stop criticizing Capcom over these really insignificant things. But they're not insignificant. When he can be up there for 2 minutes, it's not insignificant. And buffing himself and other monsters that he called in from up there all the while. It's just, that's not insignificant. That is a serious problem. Anyway, I'll stop. I promise I'll stop. Anyway, tell me to stop complaining about that. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.